Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Tetris Effect. Tetris Effect is a Tetris video game, as I'm sure is completely nuanced, new, and shocking information for you. It is a very, very good Tetris game that has been out on PS4 for quite a while and has now made its way to PC. And, well, we're going to take a look at it. I'm going to start journey mode, and I'm going to start it from the beginning, I think, sure. I'm going to play on normal, because I tried on expert, and it sort of kicked my ass. So, let's start from the deep. And, I'm going to try and commentate while I play live, which is a lot more difficult than I would like to admit for me. I haven't played Tetris in a very, very long time. It has been years. Matter of fact, I don't quite remember when's the last time I played Tetris, but you know, we shall see what we can do. I don't like this tower that I started off with. Let's clear it out to there, and yep, this is a lot better. Save that one, and there we go. So, I hope, and actually I'm pretty sure, that I don't need to explain the rules of Tetris to anyone, because at this point in time, anyone who has ever owned a single piece of gaming equipment, be it a console, be it a PC, be it a... how do you call those? We used to have... I don't know how locally European this is, but we used to have, like, portable handheld consoles of sorts, if you will, back in the well, for me it was the 90s, but they're probably a lot older than that. And we used to call those Tetris, because you could play Tetris on them, and as well as a host of other games most of the time. But realistically, we just played Tetris and maybe a few others here and there when we got bored of Tetris. I'm not sure what they're called, and I'm pretty sure Nintendo developed them back in the day, but they had like a billion knockoffs. Anyways, this game also has one of the best songs I've heard in ages, so I'm going to shut up and let you listen to it. So people might ask you, why on earth would you want to play Tetris in 2019? To that I say, why not, but on a less stupid and less generic response, this is a game about the moment. The moment when it all fits, you know? The moment when a song like that comes on, you love it to bits. You absolutely love it to bits. Or a song like this, which I also really like. The soundtrack for the game is phenomenal. I recommend getting it just purely based off the soundtrack, and if you can't, go on YouTube, there is the full soundtrack of the game, and you can listen to that. Because it is absolutely phenomenal. And it's a huge part of the game experience. Not just from you know, the traditional point of view where the soundtrack sort of, you know, without it the game is just incomplete and dull. It actually affects the gameplay quite a bit. As the song progresses to higher tempo, the blocks start falling quicker, the game gets more intense, and so on and so forth. It's very important, and yeah, it's just absolutely epic. It's bar none one of the greatest soundtracks since... what was that? Braid had an amazing soundtrack, and... what was that? That indie game about the... Calamity. Yeah, Calamity had an amazing soundtrack as well. That's about it. Like, that's some of the top soundtracks in video games that I can in recent memory that I can think of, and this. Anyways, let's get back to the actual game itself, and let me tell you what you're getting for your money here. So there's multiple different modes. This is the sort of campaign. There's also score attack, and various score attack modes, marathon, so on and so forth. There is an endless mode as well, I believe. You just need to go into practice, which, yes, there's a lot you can do. You can do tons. However, how does it compare to some of the other games on the market? Or off the market, and by that I mean, how does it compare to some of the games that are free? Because there's a plethora of free Tetris games out there that you can just not even download, you can just play in your browser, and they're Tetris games. I mean, they're fairly solid games. They feel great, they play great. Their soundtracks are admittedly not as good, but you know, they're solid gaming experiences, right? So how do they feel compared to this, and is it worth it? Well, what you're getting here is a more of a complete experience, if I can say so. Namely because you get everything in one, right? You can edit the rules to your heart's content, whereas in most cases in those games you can't really do that, and you need to find one that you really are most comfortable with. And for those that aren't, let's say, Tetris enthusiasts, you might think, well, isn't it just all the same? No. We're not just talking about how the blocks control, how quickly they drop, how responsive they are, and so on and so forth, although that's probably the biggest focal point, I suppose, here, but we're also talking about the tiny little details in the rules. Can you hold blocks? How many can you hold? How many blocks do you see before they actually, before you actually get them in hand? The list over to the right. How does scoring work? So on and so forth. All of that is important to someone that's, I was going to say someone that's a Tetris enthusiast, but not necessarily. If you're going to start playing, you're going to start realizing the differences between all those things, and they're going to start to matter fairly soon. And here you get to customize a lot of that, and at least from a personal perspective, for me, I was going to say, from a personal perspective, for me personally, let's try and make it a more less retarded sentence, Juggernaut, thank you very much. Personally, I find it to be quite superb. I mean, honestly, there isn't anything that I would wish there to be that there isn't, or that I can't just simply turn on or off. So for me, it's the most complete Tetris experience that I've managed to find so far. And I've played a few games out there. I've also played Puyo Tetris, I believe it's called. And they're all great titles out there, but this one just always stood out. A lot of that is due to the soundtrack, fair enough, but there's also more to it. You also get a very cool superpower in this game, which I'm not exactly using here. A B, really? I suppose it's fair enough, right? Okay. Hey, I've leveled up. Lovely, lovely, okay. So, anyways, shall we advance on to level 2? I suppose we shall, why not? Alright, so there's that. It doesn't have a multiplayer aspect to it like you might expect to see in, well, what's it? Tetris with Friends does that, right? Yeah, Tetris with Friends does a sort of PvP. It's a free browser game. It does sort of like a PvP thing. Very similar to Nintendo's Tetris Battle Royale, except it's on a slightly smaller scale. Which, honestly, in my modest opinion, makes it a little bit better, but what do I know? Anyways, it doesn't have that, though you do have a ton of score attack modes, so if you really care about PvP, I suppose Tetris with Friends is your best bet for PC right now, at the very least. Right. What else? Well, that's really about it. There's not a lot you can say about a game like this, except I could rant on about how it feels terrific to play it, how all the blocks seem to slide just enough, how the controls seem perfectly responsive, and all that. But it's really there's not a lot of use to in talking about that. The best would be for you to actually get a trial of the game or something along those lines, and then test it out for yourselves. Which I believe you can do, though don't take my word for it. Anyways, that's pretty much it from me as far as Tetris Effect is concerned. It's a phenomenal game, it's a Tetris game, it's a very, very niche game. I'm willing to admit this, and I'm more than ready to admit it. And I realise that it's a good time perhaps for it to be coming to PC, as well with the release of Nintendo's Tetris Battle Royale. There's sort of been a spark in interest for Tetris again, and yeah, it's really good. It's a Tetris game, and it's one of the best out there. You should buy it for the soundtrack alone, and that's, I suppose, the TLDR version of this video, right? But I do want to I suppose, stress for the very end what I talked about when I said, like, the moment, right? It's... Ooh. God, this is gorgeous. I swear to God, this is, like, visually one of the most stunning things I've seen. I'm not sure how well YouTube is going to convey this. I'm going to try and upload this in, like, I'm going to see how I'm recording this, but if this doesn't... If the video quality doesn't satisfy me, I'm going to try and upload it into, like, more than full HD, like try and go 4K or something along those lines. And see how that looks, but, yeah. It's a friggin' phenomenal looking game. Anyways, I was going to say something. I want to explain something a little bit, I suppose, or try and convey something. For those that I don't know, maybe haven't played Tetris when they were younger, or don't quite understand what's going on here, and why some of us would like to play a game like this, and some of us enjoy games like these, other than, you know, the usual, you know, do whatever you want sort of deal. It's about escapism, ultimately, I think. Matter of fact, fun fact, Tetris was developed as a instrument of war. Yes, it was developed by the army, actually, believe it or not. Or at least that's what I've been told many years ago, and chose to believe it. But yeah, come to think about it, I don't actually have that 100% confirmed now, but I do believe that it was initially invented by the army. At any rate, fat load of good that did them. Point being, it's about, ultimately, ironically I suppose somewhat, it's about escapism. It's about not listening to a YouTuber ramble on about the game of Tetris, but actually going and playing it for yourself, and getting yourself in, I suppose, this state of mind where the world around you disappears, your room disappears, you are immersed in the experience, as maybe initially odd as that may seem. You focus on the blocks. Fairly simple. You focus on what's coming next, and you just focus on the game. And again, when the soundtrack hits, or when, you know, your heartbeat starts pumping a little bit harder because the game's speed just increased, and you're a little bit worried because your tower is not exactly perfect, that's when it all sort of aligns. You know, you get that feeling, I suppose, when you're watching a sunset or something, that, you know, you're just immersed in the moment. I'm trying to convey it as best I can. I don't know how good of a job I'm doing. But it sort of reminds me of that, at the very least. you're sort of just immersed in the moment, and you're not really thinking about all too much other than what's in front of you. The worries of yesterday and tomorrow sort of fade away, and you're looking at this. And the colours. Oh god, the colours here just add to that effect so much. Regardless of what level you're playing, though, obviously I have some personal favourites from what I've seen. I think the first one is the greatest, but I don't know, maybe it's just the first impressions problem. At any rate, though, that's why we play this game. For that feeling, you spend it. You're almost like an adrenaline junkie, chasing that feeling. It's not always there, but if the better you get at the game, the more often you get that feeling, and the more confident you become, and the more, I guess, the more effective you are at your escapism, right? And it's a really fun feeling that you don't really get with, dare I say it, with any other title. Because, look, I love RPGs to death. I've played a metric ton of RPGs, both personally and in my own free time and for the channel here. But it's not that. It's not the immersion of forcing yourself into a world or a narrative that's been presented by someone. This is very simple. This is like immersing yourself in your own mind, doing something that's just complicated enough, but also simple enough, right? It's about that. It's more about immersing yourself into yourself rather than a narrative. Anyways, maybe I'm just blabbering on at this point, but that's at least what it feels like to me. And it's not just, well, I say it's just me blabbering to make light of the situation and to make fun of it, but it's also actually what I'm sort of half speaking from experience, half sort of retelling you what professional Tetris players say, and Tetris players that have played the game for years, and then still do say, when you ask them, well, why play this and not, I don't know, some RPG or something else, like a different game, you just don't get that feeling, right? You just don't get that feeling, and well, there you go. I suppose that's really all I can say. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to shut up now a little bit and let you enjoy the wonderful sounds and visuals of the experience. I'm going to leave a link in the description as well if you don't want to listen to me talk, just want to look at the gameplay. I'm going to leave a link to this moment in the video. So I'm going to focus a little bit more on my game, try and play a little bit quicker. Do bear in mind I haven't played Tetris in absolute years, so don't be too harsh on me. Anyways, enjoy. Holy hell, that was trippy as hell. I actually felt myself going into a trance. Whew. Alright. Hey, another B. Let's try some more. No, sod it, let's play some more. I should probably explain. First of all, that was horrible. Second of all, I should probably explain. I'm not using the power up on purpose because I don't really like it. Oh well. Thank you for, sorry. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and like, subscribe down below if you enjoyed the video. I want to stay tuned with the rest of the content that I produce on the channel. Tell me if you like this, tell me if you want to see more of Tetris here, because I'd certainly be willing to play it, provided I get a little bit better at the bloody thing and shake off some of the rust, and yeah. Anyways, I've forgotten how to speak apparently. At any rate, I'll see you around. Have fun, take care, and bye-bye.